You're listening to Do That Well with your hosts, Brenda Brown and Karen Thrall, a podcast about real experiences and how to turn them into life lessons. Unscripted, honest, funny, genuine, and passionate. A series of conversations where we explore every aspect of human interaction and provoke each other to do life well. Today, we're going to be talking about different words that were used in ancient Greek philosophy that differentiated between different forms of love. In our modern day society, we do have a couple different words for love. There's romantic love, there's familial love, but we are still just using the word love. And in ancient Greece, which would have been around 6th century BC, they had several different words that were actually for different forms of love that can be had. Karen, you're actually the one that found this particular article that gave life to this topic. Thank you for that. I was immediately drawn to this because for my own life, I am a firm believer in the concept that we actually should get emotional fulfillment from different sources in our life. And we've recently talked about love languages. We've talked about family dynamics. We have a little bit of a love theme going and figured, why don't we continue on this love train, so to speak? uh, with the Greek words for love, my hope in this topic is that we can all expand our idea of where we can receive love from in our lives and find places where we can balance the love as well to really create a fully formed love hug.
Yeah, I remember I had memory that a few years ago I did a journal entry and was reflecting on this and how I say I love pizza and I say I love my mom. And I thought, it's so interesting that like it kind of waters down my wonderful affections I have for my mom when pizza gets the same word. And then I thought about how often I say, oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Ooh, love that. Wow, I love that. Love that. And I use it so casually, so relaxed. And in my personal life, I've watered it down quite a bit. And that's not my intention, of course. So this article kind of sparked that notion that, well, what do we do? And for the people listening, how can we all find different ways to receive love and to see all these different forms of love being so equally valuable and almost bringing a bit more meat and potatoes, more depth into the word love. So this, in my journal, I put this quote from, he's a world-renowned psychotherapist from San Diego, Robert A. Johnson. And he said this, Sanskrit has 96 words for love. Ancient Persian has 80. Wow. English 1. But this was the phrase I thought was really interesting. This is indicative of the poverty of awareness or emphasis that we give to that tremendously important realm of feeling. So this article that we're going to be talking about today, I was like, whoa, that kind of does something like that. So if we had a vocabulary of 90 words or 10 words or 5 words of love, he says, we would immediately be richer and more intelligent in this human element so close to our hearts. So there we go. That's another. I've been kind of reflecting on this for quite some time in my subconscious without realizing it. And also, Brenda, you had brought it up. It was actually when you brought it up, and we had that big long talk. And then I went, okay, we've got some energy on this.
It's a fun topic. I'm excited to dive in. And I adore that comment. See how I didn't use the word love there?
Yeah.
I found an alternative. Now, in ancient Greece, there were several variants for the word love, possibly even subcategories. We're going to talk through 8 of them that we found outlined in this article, but just know in the back of your mind that it didn't stop with these 8. They had so many more words to describe different types of love. You'll have to excuse me because I don't speak ancient Greek, nor do I speak modern day Greek. So it is very possible I will say some of these words wrong, but here we
With
go.
you. I'm with you.
The first one that we'll talk about is philia, which was an affectionate love. So, philia love is love that does not have romantic attraction, and it can occur between friends, family members, etc. It occurs when both people share the same values and respect for one another, and it's often referred to as brotherly love. The article says that the catalyst for this type of love is your mind, because it articulates that your friends are on the same wavelength as you and find, trust with people. And different ways to show philia is to engage in deep conversation, be open and trustworthy, and be supportive with your friends in hard times.
Mm. The first thing that jumped out at me is the when you said it is love without romantic attraction. I thought that was so cool, and I do have something I want to say. Maybe I'll put a pin in it because I remember years ago learning about the word crush, but I'm going to wait for when we get to that one, that Greek word. Um, but it is really cool that there is a word for love for friendship. They would say, I philia you, my friend. And that philia, wow, it meant all this, you know, it meant this bond and of the mind and the deep thinking and the connection and the trustworthiness and the support. And I'm like, wow, one word and the person knew exactly what they meant. That
Right.
it had so much depth to it. So I thought that was super cool.
Yeah.
I philia you, Brenda.
I feel like you too. No, I really liked that with Philia that it said it was something that can be had between friends or family, because it took me back to some of the sentiments that we had in our family dynamics discussion and how you can choose your family, right? If your given family isn't really working for you, you can choose your family by surrounding yourself with friends that you love. So I like that Philia is a way that we can choose our family with
Hmm.
through friends. That's where my
Yeah.
mind went a bit with this one.
That's so cool because like the how they describe it being brotherly love or sisterly love, it's that does have the indication of a family vibe to it. So yeah, that's really cool.
Right. Philia. It's a good one. We'll have to start.
I'm gonna say this about it though. I find this one actually hard to do now that I'm thinking about it. For some reason, because my type of friendship, I'm not somebody you're going to see every single day. I'm not in your life every day. I'm not going shopping with you and meeting you at the coffee shop. I don't have that kind of DNA in me, and I'm always when I see it in other people, I really admire it. And it actually creates emotion in me because I'm like, wow, like it's like they're a community and they do everything together. And I was thinking of my friend Stace and Julie up in Whistler and Carla. They live life together. They know each other intimately. They can finish each other's sentences. And I remember walking with them one day with Stace and Julie, and they were finishing each other's sentences. And I actually started to cry because I loved it. I loved it so much. But I admired it so much. So this thing, if people listening, if you have that type of capacity to have a community of friends and you do life together, I want to applaud you right now because my lifestyle doesn't really offer that kind of friendship, and I have quality time, but I'm not a quantity time person. So I always admire it in people. So if you're one of them, I think yay to you.
I agree. I tend to be more like you, Karen, where I don't necessarily have time that I'm spending. I'm a quality over quantity as well. The way that I interpret philia, and of course, it is up for interpretation, right? But I don't think that you necessarily need to have the quantity to still feel
Mhm.
philia. This article
That's
calls
true.
out engaging in deep conversation or being
That's
supportive in
true.
hard times. So to me, I feel like philia, I'm interpreting it more as those friends that I might not even speak to them once more than once a year, but they
Mhm.
are family to me still. And I know they're
Mhm.
going to be there in a hard time. I
That's
know
true,
I
that's a
can
good
call them
point.
if I need
Mhm.
to talk about something deep.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Now you have me wondering. I'm not sure what the ancient Greek interpretation of philia is. There's other words we aren't going to talk about, so there might be another word for something in,
Mhm.
in between.
Yeah, I'm on the wrong Greek word, see? See? It's 'cause I'm English. I'm English, and I don't know how. So you're right, and now that you've said it, that's actually right. the qualities of Philia is engaging in deep conversation with a friend, being open and trustworthy, being supportive in hard times. And that's something I do hold very, very dear to my heart. Amazing how the perceptions and the narratives that I create in myself when it comes to friendship love, that even in this one, we're only on number one and I'm already getting confused, but it just shows you I do hunger for that, and it is reassuring, and it is affirming to go, my friendship that I offer does fit into this category. And so that's cool. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. The second one is pragma. Pragma, love, and it's interpreted as enduring love. And what they say in the article is pragma is a unique, bonded love that matures over many years. It's an everlasting love between a couple that chooses to put equal effort into the relationship. Two people pouring the same investment into one another. Commitment and dedication are required to reach pragma. Instead of falling in love, you are standing in love. Okay, that's very cool. With the partner you want by your side indefinitely. The love catalyst is etheric, and it's the subconscious. And when we say love catalyst, what each Greek word is, this is the area where you are propelling yourself into a loving relationship. The subconscious on this one drives partners towards each other, and this feeling comes unknowingly and feels purposeful. So, how to show pragma? Continue to strengthen the bond of long-term relationship. So you have that in your mind. It's in there. You are in this for a long-term, everlasting, long-lasting relationship. You seek and show effort with your partner. So if there's a mutual agreement, a mutual bond, a mutual investment, you choose to work with your partner forever. So, you know what it is? It's two doves. Doves would have pragma,
Aw.
wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Because they have one partner, one life partner, and they do everything together. Huh.
And penguins too, right? Don't penguins do
Penguins. Right.
that? How lovely. A nice visual.
Yes.
This one, I must say, it was actually a little like emotional for me thinking through this one. Something about the choice aspect of it really got my wheels turning. Um, I don't know if we've even talked about this on the podcast or not at this point, but I'm getting married soon. This is a big thing that's happening in my life right now, and something about pragma, this idea of enduring love, I think really sums up a lot of the feelings and thoughts that I'm currently having about my choice to be married, because it's a choice, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know a lot of movies might have you believe that there's one true love, and I don't personally abide to that line of thinking. I think that I think that true love is a thing that exists, but I don't necessarily think that true love is limited to one person in your life.
Right.
So in my world and in my opinion,
Mhm.
if you're choosing to get married to someone, you're choosing to commit to this partner for a long time, that is this enduring love, this
Mhm.
pragma. You're really accepting the commitment, and then you're making all of the moves necessary to work together to really strengthen that bond. And
Mhm.
when the article called out seek and show effort with your partner, that really stood out to
Wow.
me, because it's a choice and it's a difficult one. Um,
Mhm.
it, yeah,
Yeah, and
it's one
it
that I thought
shows.
a lot.
Yeah, it actually brings back that not everyone is supposed to get married.
Right.
And I think this stigma that is the ultimate, and it isn't the ultimate, it's one of the ultimates. If you don't have that vision with the person you're with, where both of us together have an undying devotion, love, investment for the rest of our lives, and we're going to adjust our behaviors to fulfill that vision. We're going to do equal investment, equal agreement, equal all that together to fulfill that vision. If that's not in your heart, then it's okay. Don't get married. That'll be such a painful, difficult area for you, that to see love only that way. And if you're not wired and you think, I can't make that commitment, well, then don't put that pressure on yourself. And don't put any shame or guilt on yourself either. And it makes sense. It makes sense why, like, my parents have been married 62 years, and you look at them and they've walked through everything together, and they emulate this, and so I think there's this thing of taking the pressure off. But if this is what you long for, then find a partner who longs for it with you. If one of you longs for it and the other one kind of longs for it, or if you both long for it but have completely different interpretations of what that is, it's going to be a hot mess. It's just not going to be long lasting to what you desire. So when you're making a decision, look for the mutual investment, the mutual agreement that both of you are saying yes to this. And don't feel bad if it's not agreed upon.
Right.
Don't shame yourself because you're not there yet, or you're not, or never will be there. I don't know. We're all
Right.
so different.
Definitely. And I think what is so cool about this particular one, now that we're here with Pragma, in our modern society, and specifically looking at Western civilization, there is a bit of this idea that marriage, as you're saying, it is like the end all be all. And so the word love becomes a bit synonymous with this idea of finding your life partner and getting married or not, but finding, this one person. So I like that Pragma, this enduring love, it it allows us to let that be a form of love that we can have, but it's not
Yeah.
the only one.
If there's something I'm learning, there isn't just one answer. And it doesn't matter what topic it is, the paradox that we can have conflicting truths living in the same system, like the paradox that it isn't the only answer, because that actually waters down love. It actually makes it so small, so narrow, that people aren't experiencing love unless, like, we have that rule, unless you're married. And I find this very liberating, for people who aren't wired this way. And for me, this is my second marriage. Corey's my second marriage. And what I love is we really talked about, because we didn't have to get married, but we got to a point where we're like, no. And we knew, like, pretty soon in, that it was time to have that talk. And we were both on the same page. We both wanted a lifelong investment. We both carried the same agreement, the same desire, everything. And it was so when you hit those hard times, it didn't matter, because we knew we were bonding, we were pulling together. And that's what was really cool is we both, it was just really cool. That's all I'll say.
Well, with that, shall we introduce the third concept?
Yes. And
Okay.
that's mine. Is that me? Okay.
Sure.
So I'm going to call it Storge or Storge. It's familiar love. This is called familiar love, Storge. And it's a naturally occurring love rooted in parents and children, as well as best friends. It's an infinite love built upon acceptance and deep emotional connection. This love comes easily and immediately in parent and child relationships. The love catalyst is causal, it's memories. Your memories encourage long lasting bonds with another individual. As you create more memories, the value of your relationship increases. Now, how you show Storge: sacrifice your time, self, or personal pleasures. You'll do that for the children or the parents or your family members, pets as well. And I think this is where people who are a pet family, that this is their pets, they have an immediate bond with their animal, and it's a love they can't explain. And it's an unconditional love they can't explain. You quickly forgive harmful actions. And I see that's so true. You can be so mad, and so forgiving all at the same time, because it's family or it's siblings or it's things like that. You share memorable and impactful moments. And for me, with my kids, I have, as if it's yesterday, visuals of my kids when they were 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, and they're forever embedded in me. And so my memories of association go all the way back to when they were little. And I can't help it. Sometimes I'll look at them and I'll immediately go into, like, 5-year old Madison, 3-year old Dylan. And I think that's probably that explains what's going on here. So that's the storge or storge or
I wasn't
storge.
sure how to say it either. I was in my head, I've been reading it as storge, which I'm sure is not correct.
Oh, there you go. Another way of saying it.
But here we are. This one reminds me a bit of the Philia because they're both a form of love that can happen between family and friends. To me, it seems like the main difference is that with Storge, it's not dependent on sharing values, but it's more focused on like an acceptance of one another. So it makes sense to me that this one would be more rooted with parent-child
Mhm,
relationships or with family
mhm,
because there's
mhm.
that acceptance that's there, even if your values might not align.
Wow, oof, that's good.
So
I didn't see it that way until you just said that right now. That's incredibly liberating. I'm the baby of the family, and I've always had a perception that I swim against the current. So all the fish are going this way, and I'm going the other way. And I'm the one who lives far away, and I want to, the world is my oyster, and that don't clip my wings. And not that any of that happened, but I always felt different from my family. But I feel so loved by my family. I know I'm loved by my family and I love them. But you look at me and my siblings, we all live life incredibly different. So I love see I'm gonna just say love all the time. I can't stop myself. But the this thing of being connected but not necessarily in shared values, having acceptance but not necessarily share values. Wow. Because I know that's very true in my life with my family and I love them deeply.
I tend to agree. I think this kind of love is also a love that I want to find more with people that aren't family.
Mm,
I want to be able to bring acceptance and love and create bonds with people even if our values aren't aligning. It's something that I covet, I suppose,
mhm,
in my life.
mhm.
This one actually really reminds me of you, Karen,
Oh,
because I think that you're actually really good at extending this energy and this kind of love to your friends. The
mm.
memories part, especially, is something that makes me think of you because I really appreciate that you always recall special moments that you've had with people.
Okay, so one thing that I do love doing is finding what's relatable and what can I find in common so I can have a connection. So, and I that's where if I may not share the same values, but man, I still want to connect. I may not even agree with you on 90% of stuff, but I'm going to look for the silver lining. I'm going to figure out how to connect with you and have that acceptance. So I find really inspiring is that you can still accept somebody and not have those shared values. And I think that's a great message for the United States right now. I can't speak for any other nation, but let's still accept each other, and it's okay you don't have shared values. It doesn't make the other person an enemy or wrong. You can still love them with this storage this storage they love. You can still love them that way. So there is a place for love, and there doesn't have to be hate or harm or this is where us as Americans we can hang our hats is right here. So
It's an interesting one. This one, out of
yeah.
all of them, I think is still the hardest one for me to wrap my brain around, to be quite honest.
Hmm. Do you know why?
No, it's not that I don't. I like the sentiment of it. Maybe it's because it seems less complex to me than the other ones.
Hmm.
But
Yeah, it is actually I'm actually going, ah, because I haven't read this article for a while, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to be fresh in the conversation, and so I'm thinking, wow, that's so cool that you can accept someone and not have shared values. I don't know if we're taught that. I think we actually don't accept people if they don't have shared values. We don't associate with them. We don't want to have anything to do with them.
right.
I mean, it's happening. It seems like it's happening more and more that we're almost segregating and only being with the same people, and this kind of love tells us we don't have to segregate. We can actually live in the same system and express storage love. So I think it's really cool. So
Yeah.
I can see why you're thinking,
It's an interesting one. I like it.
yeah, yeah.
I like all of them. You want to take us into the fourth one?
I do. Now, I'm mindful of time. What are you thinking? Should we keep going, and
I
or
think
should
we
we
have time to
bump
get
it?
through this one.
Okay, okay, great. All right. So this one is Eros, romantic love. And this one I think is one that's the most popular, one of the top most popular Greek words for love is Eros. Eros is a primal love that comes as a natural instinct for most people. It's a passionate love displayed through physical affection. These romantic behaviors include, but are not limited to, kissing, hugging, and holding hands. This love is a desire for another person's physical body. And the love catalyst is hormones, physical hormones. Your hormones are awakened, a fire in your body, and must be satiated with romantic actions from an admired partner. And how you show Eros is admiring someone's physical body. So this is the whole attraction. This is our instinct, maybe our animal instinct. This is that peacock feather, where we do the peacock feather.
This one, I mean, it is so straightforward. I don't actually have a whole lot to add to this one. I think that this one in our modern day time is something that we do still differentiate. We differentiate between romantic love and, physical love and emotional love. So I think that this is probably one that is the easiest for us to comprehend because it is most similar to the ways that we still view love in our modern day society. Um, and I think it's interesting because this is one that starts to approach into the physical. We're not just talking about
Mm.
the emotional state of love. It is really about this
Yeah.
physicality, romantic affection, physical touch, hugging, kissing, appreciating someone's body, all of those things.
Yeah.
I also will say that the teenager in me really had to giggle that the catalyst for this one was hormones. I don't know why. I just think that's really I just found that really silly and had a little teenage moment of like blushing and thinking this one was
Mhm.
funny.
I remember this is years ago, my psychologist was told me about limerence. And limerence is a chemistry that happens between two people. Oh, and I don't know if this is the place I really want to talk about crushing, but I'll just allude to it. Actually, you know what? No. On next week's podcast, I'm going to bring this up. But this catapults me into this learning that I thought was really fantastic about limerence, and I call it crushing. And it's the chemistry when you just meet, and it can be as sweet and innocent. You just have instant connection with somebody. Eros love is the touch. Eros is the electricity. Someone will put their hand on your shoulder and you'll feel electricity, or you'll kiss somebody and you'll feel electricity. And what I want to say with this one is, um, not everyone gets to experience physical touch, and it's also holding hands and hugging. Yes, it goes all to all levels of sexuality, but so even that, for those of you who are going, oh, I feel like I don't have Eros love, like I don't know how to do this, I don't have that gene or whatever. It's more just remember physical touch. We're not asking you to be like sex crazy. We're just, if you're having a hard time, if people listening have a hard time with this, it is the act of physical touch. It's the act of just enjoying that chemistry with another body. So it can be as simple as that. We can simplify it a bit.
Right, definitely. And to reiterate as well, that's the whole reason that we're taking a look at all of these different definitions of love, right? To show you that there are so many different forms of love, and you might not need all of them in your life. You might only need some of them. So we are taking a moment to like really redefine the way that we relate to love, I guess, more or less.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Well, as you said, Karen, we are running out of time. I'm not surprised that this topic is taking us into 2 episodes. We did not plan this, but here we are. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up for this episode, and we'll come back next week and introduce the next 4 words for Greek love and wrap up our conversation on the ancient Greek
I
philosophy
can't wait.
words.
I'm excited. Can't wait.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. And you'll have to tune in again next week to learn more about, is it limerence?
Oh, yeah. Limerence.
Limerence. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to hear more
Yeah.
about this.
It's a good one.
Okay. We'll see you all there.